This video was made possible by viewers like you over on Patreon. Check out the link in the description to hear how you can help make shows like this be even more amazing. Hey everyone, Gaijin Goomba here, and welcome back to another episode of Yokai Hunters, where Japanese monster media meet in order to unravel the origins of gaming and anime's coolest characters.
So, 3 whole DLC packs and you just now decide to do another yokai cultural breakdown on Nioh 2, huh?
Yeah, I know. Look, if Nioh 2 doesn't end up being my game of the year, it'll at least be in the top 3. Because for anyone unfamiliar with this franchise, it's got everything I want in a video game. Dark Souls-like difficulty, a high fantasy take on multiple periods of Japan's history from Heian to Edo, and finally more yokai than you can check a Gohei at. With 2 even giving you the ability to use each yokai's, well, ability. And yes, I know, 2 DLC packs of the game have already come and gone, and the final DLC pack, The First Samurai, dropping just last Thursday. I guess it was just lucky for me that the patrons were all about me cranking out a Nioh 2 video before Christmas. So, alright, no more mucking about, let's climb back into some Nioh analysis, cause there's a lot to pick and choose from when it comes to the culture-inspired gaming elements here.
Too much if you ask me. After 3 entire DLC packs, where in the world do we get started?
Well, I'm not even touching the 3rd DLC pack. I want that to be a complete surprise for Saturday and Sunday streams.
Well, then how about this? Considering Dark Souls, Bloodborne, and so many other Souls-like games tend to have their enemies be monstrous sins of nature, why not break down some of the most twisted and horrifying yokai in Nioh 2's DLC? Cause that's the interesting thing here. Other Souls-likes have to create from scratch the horrible visages of their game's enemies. Nioh though? Dude, yokai are already horrifying enough in their original depictions. Not like Team Ninja had to change all that much.
Alright, pick your top 5 and let's see what you come up with.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, got him. Alright, let's kick things off with one of the more unheard of horrors of the deep. Yo, To, Sha, Kai, Jin, X, Zai, Zen, Kyukyu no Ritsuryo! If the Japanese spider crab didn't already skeeve you out enough, the Bakegani just might be the one thing to give you ongoing night terrors about crustaceans. I mean, if you play the game, you already understand the hair-rending frustration of dealing with this thing's impenetrable carapace and the seemingly endless status effects that these crabs spew out, but really, look at this thing! Looks like some kind of unholy unity of Mario and Claw Grip. Well, my fellow Gaijins, that's kind of the entire story behind this hell crab. Let me take you back to Japan nearly 1,000 years ago, April 25th, 1185, to the Battle of Dan-no-Ura. See, the Genpei War had been ravaging Japan as the Taira or Heikei clan had been duking it out with the Minamoto or Genji clan for 5 years now over who was gonna run the country. Very long and harrowing story short, the outnumbered Genji won the decisive battle over the Heikei using their knowledge of the tides and the double cross of Heikei General Taguchi Shigeyoshi. Knowing their defeat, hundreds of Heikei soldiers alongside 6-year-old Emperor Antoku and most of the Imperial regalia chose to drown themselves instead of facing defeat. But to this day, there exists, scuttling along the Shimonoseki Strait, crabs that bear the face of an angry samurai warrior. Oh yeah, like the Tanuki and Kitsune, these are yokai that very much exist within the real world, though far less cute and fluffy. These crabs are believed by some to be vessels for the enraged spirits of the Heikei soldiers who were betrayed by Shigeyoshi, thus earning them the more commonplace name of Heikeigani. Not nearly as threatening as the Bakegani in game, but still stands out as one of the most bizarre yokai. Not only for its design, but also due to its existence in real life. Kyukyu no Ritsuryo! Oh boy, the Nupeppo. Where do you even get started with this literal mess? Well, I guess if I had to boil this yokai down in game, I'd say it's defined by 2 very prominent features. Firstly,
I like 'em big, I like 'em chunky.
Yeah, I think the clap of this thing's butt cheeks is definitely gonna alert every guard in the compound. And then there's... Yeah, you want some suck? Nupeppo gonna give you the suck. Right into its endless rows of demonic fangs. I guess I could say more about its slappy arm spins, but essentially what we've got going on here is a demonic Kirby with a rockin' fat booty. Where to even begin with this thing? Well, how about the Zade Hodai Mogyu? Within this goofy Tales book is likely one of the only written descriptions of the Nupepo. It sucks the fat of the dead and eats to its fullest with a needle. In the past, they come disguised as a doctor, but now they just come as is. So mayhaps this is where our Turbo Suck comes from, but the deets on this roly-poly get a lot more juicy. Cause technically, this yokai doesn't have eyes, a nose, or a mouth. Not even digits for that matter. The wobbly flesh that makes up this boy merely creates the illusion of it having these parts. As for the name, it stems from the word nupedi, or to apply white powder. But there's sort of a double entendre with that word, cause it also has a meaning of feigning ignorance and pretending to understand. Thus, in its early entry in the Zade Hodai Mogyu, it would attempt to approach people pretending to be human, only to scare the crap out of their human conversation partner. Lastly, it said that ingesting the flesh of this literal meatball is said to give you eternal life. Though, considering the Nupepo's rank smell of rotten meat can push people into unconsciousness, best of luck trying to take a bite out of this chunker. Wait, then does that mean that Super Meat Boy's a yokai? Well, anyway, moving on, I got a riddle for you. What's got a demonic face, 2 wheels, and is the living embodiment of road rage? Kyurukyu no Ritsuryo! The Oboro Guruma, or Hazy Cart. A Tsukumo Gami or thing yokai of sorts that once started off as a simple ox carriage turned hellbound hardtop. Though funny enough, while there have been whispers of such a yokai in Kyoto for centuries, it was actually Toriyama Sekian that gave the creature any hard backstory in the 1700s. So you ever have someone yell at you for taking their parking spot? Yeah, imagine if that got so bad that your anger birthed a yokai, cause that's exactly what happened in the Tale of Genji with the aristocrats Lady Aoi and her bitter enemy Lady Rokujo. What began as a screaming match between nobles to nick the best spot for their ox cart taxis turned into an all-out brawl with the carts as weapons. A real Ben-Hur affair. So yes, what you're looking at is a yokai birthed from the contempt and hatred from a 1%er trying to find a parking space. Could you imagine this taking place in the real world? Like, some trust fund kid throwing a road rage temper tantrum so hard that it manifests in their Rolls Royce? Pretty weird, right? Kyurukyu no Ritsuryo! Tsuchigumo. Actually a regular when it comes to this show. We've talked about him a handful of times before, what with his resounding popularity in kabuki plays, but like all amazing legends, there's actually another version of this tale that is not really talked that much about. Because while in most cases Tsuchigumo's been depicted as just another massive spider yokai, the Tsuchigumo Solshi depicts him as something altogether stranger. While in Neo 2 we see history legends Minamoto no Yorimitsu aka Daiko and Kintoki fighting Tsuchigumo, the Tsuchigumo Solshi actually has Yorimitsu and retainer Watanabe no Tsune pursuing the massive spider. After tracking Tsuchigumo down, the two slice up the arachnid as dozens of skulls pour out of its body. A spider made of skulls. Though to call him a spider seems inappropriate, because the true Tsuchigumo was a hodgepodge of creatures. The body of a tiger, the face of an oni, and the legs of an insect. Like the Nue, a chimera yokai of sorts. Other stories say that it was Emperor Jimmu, first emperor of Japan, who captured Tsuchigumo and had its head, body, and legs buried separately on Mount Yamato Katsuragi to prevent its grudges from manifesting, something that you absolutely come across in-game. As well as the historical origin of Tsuchigumo, that being a slang term for guerrilla fighting tribes that refuse to acknowledge the emperor, which are an entire enemy group for you to fight in-game. But no matter the iteration, the Tsuchigumo was truly something strange. Kyurukyu no Ritsuryo!
いのとの土地今後てめえをつつくも瀬戸つくもすっかいからち
I love this guy. Alright, so a little backstory. So the first DLC pack, The Tengu's Disciple, briefly tells the tale of Minamoto no Yoshitsune, arguably Japan's greatest swordsman in history, alongside his trusted companion and guardian, Benkei. A mountain of a Buddhist warrior monk who was attempting to steal his 1000th blade from Yoshitsune on the Gojo Bridge in Kyoto, but was played so hard that he became the young master's right-hand man. Even when staring death in the face, Benkei was such a rock-hard badass that he never once fell in combat. During the Battle of Koromogawa, while his master was preparing for seppuku, Benkei was fighting off the surrounding horde of enemies, his body riddled with wounds. But as he finally passed after being slammed with a volley of countless arrows, he died on his feet, never once falling. Now, I tell you that story to explain what good old Benkei actually was in Nioh 2 and why. Now, it's pretty obvious that Benkei in game is no mere mortal. He actually seems to be an aggressive warrior made of bits of broken plates and pots and other tableware, right? Well, there's a yokai that is exactly that, the Seto Taisho, a porcelain Tsukumogami samurai whose spirit takes the form of all manner of flatware. Though this warrior forged its body from more delicate discarded goods, it is absolutely fearless, charging headlong into anything it perceives as an enemy. Good thing then that the typical Seto Taisho is only a few inches tall. Regardless though, the choice to make one of Japan's most stalwart, honorable, and aggressive legends an equally stalwart, honorable, and aggressive yokai makes all the sense in the world. But upon seeing this soft-paced samurai, you probably thought it was pretty weird too.
Wild, man. So, how about all of you? Either Nioh 2 or just in general, what's been the most bizarre Japanese folklore monster you've ever seen? Let us know in the comments below, and while you do that, I have so many important announcements to make, so settle in. First, a tremendous shout out to all the patrons who made this video possible. I had no idea that the last Nioh 2 DLC was coming so soon, so y'all voted right on the money it seems. Secondly, I want to give a quick shout out to Boxu for constantly sponsoring our videos. They're basically a Japanese culture shock and snack box forum with not only regional goodies that you can't get outside their homes in Japan, but also tons of cultural information about each box's seasonal theme. Check out the description for a link and use the code GAIJIN10 to get 10% off your order. Finally, I gotta thank Matt Auld and Matthew Meyer for their stellar yokai information. Be sure to check out Matt's new book, Pure Invention, which describes the world domination of Japanese pop culture, and be absolutely sure to check out Matthew Meyer's Kickstarter for his brand new yokai book, The Fox's Wedding. I already backed it, and you might want to too. And as always, be sure to check out our streams every Tuesday, Saturday, and Sunday at 7 p.m. US Central. And be sure to keep an eye out for our brand new channel, Gaijin Perspective, where I talk more about my personal experiences with Japan and hot takes on anime. But as always, everyone, thanks for watching, and until next time, this is Gaijin Goomba signing out.